All right, hello again. Back here to talk about the two-component report. Recall that your first draft is due this Sunday, July 16th, to Blackboard, the peer review forum. So you'll post that like we've done in the past. Your group, or you as an individual, or your team, or whatever, will submit one copy. And make sure that you will, obviously, when you post that, then you will enter everyone's names. It has to do with that, okay? And then we will let the peer review process then begin. I'll reiterate that as we get closer to that. So, so what I do want to do, purpose of this video anyway, is to kind of make sure we all understand what's expected. So I'm going to kind of go over the what's called assignment description, assignment sheet, whatever. So let's take a look at that. All right, so you can pull this up in the Week 10 folder, two-component report. And so what I mainly want to focus on that everybody understands is what's expected. All right, so the assignment prompt, as I alluded to in the previous video when we were talking about the analysis for your blog post, is very much dependent on which report you're doing. So as you'll notice here, you've got the proposal report, Anderson chapter 24, you've got empirical research report, Anderson chapter 25, or feasibility study is Anderson chapter 26. So depending on what you in your group or you individually are doing, you'll want to focus in very specifically on that. All right, so if you're doing a proposal report, you want to live in chapter 24 and understand what Anderson says about that, right? Empirical research report, what does he say? What's the superstructure, right? Those are the things you want to make sure that you focus on. All right, so structure. Two-component report must have both front matter and discussion sections. Whichever kind of report you decide to write, closely follow the outlines provided. All right, so it gives you page numbers. So if you go to those page numbers, you will see Anderson's superstructure. So let's go to, for example, chapter 24, right? You will see it's listed 504 to 506, right? There'll be some very specific, there's an example, some samples in there, but I would want to direct your attention more specifically to the superstructure for proposals, right? So if you're looking at that, I'm on page 487 of the proposal report, for the proposal report in chapter 24. Introduction, problem, objectives, solution, method, resources, schedule, qualifications, management, costs, right? That becomes your structure, right? This is what we call here, or what's noted here as the discussion section. You have your front matter, all right, which is a separate deal than what you have for your discussion, right? So you got two different kinds of things going on. You got your front matter, and even we would also call, you have the back matter too, right? Whatever, if you have appendices, you should have a references page, right, for your secondary sources and your primary sources. Excuse me, in APA format, which we'll discuss in a second. So, if you're writing a proposal, you should have front matter, and we'll look at that in a second. But then you should have an introduction, right? So use your headings, subheadings, use your hierarchy, introduction. Then you should definitely have a problem and answer these questions that Anderson points out here. You have an objective section, solution section, method section, resources, schedule, qualifications, management, costs. Okay, those should be your sections, right? It should be your structure. All right, so so I know we're kind of familiar that we've read chapter 24 and 25 and 26 several weeks ago. You guys are probably already starting to look at those, I hope. So maybe something that's new might be the front matter. All right, so this is where chapter 13 comes into play that we are reading for this week. And so you will see in chapter 13, especially on pages 284, start with your executive summary. Okay, this is very important because this is all of them, all the way to page 286. On 287, you will see a list of all the things that you will need to have, at least how you would set up like a content section, right? Table of contents, your table of figures, all right? Abstract, your summary, title page, cover, title page, you need a summary, abstract, okay? It's all listed right here starting on page 279, okay? All right, so if you follow those through, starting on page 279, how to write reader-centered front matter. All right, it starts off with the cover. Figure 13.2 shows you what that cover kind of should look like, okay? Title page, figure 13.3, you need a summary or an abstract, and then the executive summary, okay? So it says, look carefully at the sample executive summary Anderson provides on page 284. All right. So if we look at page 284, we have an excellent example of an executive summary. So someone in your group or the group, that might be something that someone is assigned to do. You have your abstract, then you'll have your table of contents. A good table of contents is provided on pages 286, and then a figures table on page 287. As most of you will probably have some visuals. It says here you must integrate at least 3 visuals into your report. Refer to Anderson chapter 14. Visuals can be different types of graphics or even a snapshot of a particular results, right, that you've done from one of your surveys, or some other type of graphic that you found. Just make sure that you cite it. All right. Collaborative work, we kind of covered most of that. Your report needs to be at least 12 to 16 pages in length. You guys have looked at you've seen different examples, so I won't go into detail with that at this moment. So you've got 2-component report with executive summary and discussion. So basically what that means is you need to have that's the front matter, the table of contents, cover, the title page, all that kind of stuff needs to be involved. And then your 12 to 16 pages, if as a group, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 people that are working maybe completely individually. So then your requirement's a little less. 3 useful visuals integrated into the discussion section, okay, and we can talk more about that. All resources must be cited in APA style, and a properly formatted APA title page, which you'll find in Anderson, as we have just discussed. All right, so that's kind of an overview, review of what's taking place for the 2-component report. And so for, I'll get back in the center. So for your, what should we do here? So for the, have as much done. All right, for the peer review, for your first draft, as always, the more that you give me, the more I can tell you. Okay, and here's what's really key about this 2-component report. Semester is almost over, right? So you're going to put as much as you possibly can together. It's full report, APA style. Even if you don't have the visuals done just yet, you can say a visual of blah 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 might be inserted here. That's okay, because you'll do that, you'll get feedback. Right? I'll be looking at them, providing some feedback next week as well. Then you'll be revising them next weekend, and then you'll submit the final one the following, I believe it's the following Wednesday. Well, then the semester's over the Wednesday after that. All right, so there's not a whole lot of time for revisions on the 2-component report. So try to provide as much, everything that you possibly can, your executive summary, your discussion section, your table of contents, your cover page, your title page, everything that you can possibly put together. All right, because the more you put together in your draft, the more feedback that not only your peers can give you, but that I can at least look over and give you some helpful tips. Because in the summer class, while we've been able to do lots of revisions and stuff like that, some of the previous assignments, a 2-component report is a little more challenging to get that much done. But after you submit them, I will take a look at them as quickly as possible, try to provide feedback, but at the most, I'm not sure if there'll be time for as much revision on that, but I will get them back to you as soon as possible. And if I can give you guys a couple of days to make a couple of corrections, I will certainly do that. Does that sound fair? All right, guys. It's kind of a long video. I didn't anticipate to be that long, but there's a lot going on with the 2-component report. So, as always, if you have any questions about any and all that, let me know. Always look at Anderson, because when I'm grading stuff, I've always got Anderson open right here. So if you submit a proposal, I'm looking at Anderson. I'm going to look down. I already know the front matter and the back matter and how all that stuff is. But I'll specifically look to make sure that all that stuff is there, and that's kind of the lens I'll be using to kind of grade. So keep those things in mind. So, all right, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great week. If you need anything, if there's any more I can do for you, just let me know. Have a great week. See you guys later. Bye.